republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendships among united cultures.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lafferty.
Here.
Ms. Gutierrez.
Here.
Ms. Stevenson.
Here.
Mr. Box.
Here. Here. Next is approval of the agenda. Has everybody had a chance to look at the agenda? Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Box.
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez.
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty.
Yes.
Mr. Primrose.
Yes. Next is public comments. Do we have anybody request public comment?
None.
Thank you. Next is approval of the minutes for our regular board meeting on April the 30th. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Is there any additions?
I've got a couple of questions.
Okay.
They're on page 2, the fifth line up. It says appropriated for every year, nor for the, is that nor supposed to be for not for the nursing program?
Which page?
Didn't quite make
appropriated
sense.
every year, nor for our nursing program. We appropriate for each year. The NOR, should that
Be not.
Not.
just not, each year not for our nursing program? So an addition. Yeah. Let's see. So we weren't appropriated the first year, right? Let's see where-
I think the NOR should not be in there.
That
I'm not
was
100% sure of that.
in addition to the 250,
If I read, is that what you're saying?
right?
That was some.
Well, it just doesn't, nor for the nursing program.
Yeah, it should just be that we are appropriated for every year for our nursing
For
program.
nurse, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
for-
Yeah, it's probably like. and then
Delete
just
that out.
wrote it
Delete
in
the-
again.
With the NOR,
Yes.
okay.
And then on page 4, up about 5 lines, I wasn't quite sure. This Mr. Garcia stated the students fill out a voucher, which is then submitted to the state, and they send us back 5 vouchers to cover the testing. Is it, they send us back 5 vouchers, or they send us back the funds for the vouchers?
The vouchers
I
are
don't
for the
know.
funding, right?
Because the vouchers is a request for funding, right?
Right.
So how does it work?
Dr. Edwards, do you know?
I'm afraid
I don't know the detail of that far.
Nor do I.
I know Dean explained it, but I don't remember his word. I don't, and
That's what with me, but it just doesn't quite make sense the way it's
And
written
they
here.
send us back.
A lot of
It should maybe be a voucher or the vouchers to cover the testing.
voucher, just things.
So it would be
And they
a.
send-
Because we should be sending, it seems to me that we should be sending the voucher to them,
We do.
and then them pay us back from the voucher.
Says so we fill out the vouchers, which is then submitted to the state, and they send us back vouchers to cover the testing. No, we don't need the 5,
Fill
do we?
out a voucher.
Yeah.
It's a statement there.
I'd say,
So why would we be sending a voucher to get a voucher?
well, we have to fill out the voucher.
A voucher in order to get, I believe he said free testing, for them to cover the
Uh-huh.
cost of the testing, that way they don't have to pay out of pocket, and then in return, they send us back, I guess. I have to go back and listen to it.
The funding
Maybe,
for
maybe
five.
fill out a
tests.
request form to receive a voucher possibly?
Maybe.
Like request for
Something like that.
funds?
I mean, really, you just have to go back to the
and listen
recording
to-
and see what it
Listen
said,
to the
but
meeting.
I think you could also maybe take that out or just, Mr. Garcia described the voucher process for adult ed. Am I-
Maybe
we weren't paying
covers
attention.
it.
Maybe we just end to send it to state and take the rest of it out.
Which everyone
Yeah.
present understood fully.
Would that clarify it up any?
Well, we can approve
Way,
the
way to
minutes.
go, Phil.
We can approve the minutes with Kylie clarifying the wording on that.
That would be good. Any other questions on the minutes? Not, I'll entertain a motion with those 2 changes for approval.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes with the correction.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, roll call please.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
and Mr. Lafferty.
Yes.
All right. Next is the chairman's report. The only thing I wanted to say is I wanted to thank all of the staff and faculty and students for last week. I know it was very busy, but the athletic banquet and the graduation and the nurse painting went real good, and I know it's from a lot of work for all the faculty and staff, and I appreciate all that they did to make that happen smoothly. Next would be the President's report, Dr. Moss.
So you all have my report. I wanted to update or add a few things to it. The bar, let's see, when did I write this? We sent, basically those questions were, like I said in there, the fund balances, even though overall we're to the positive, some of them are still negative, and those are things we hope to, I want to get corrected at the end of the 25 audit. Then she followed that. She said, one, thanks for getting that back so quickly, and then some other questions. Then I got a call from Tanya with HED Friday, kind of asking the same things, and because she said she was getting ready to visit with Secretary Rodriguez about our bar, and so I went through, the ones that had negative balances. Also talked about how we're looking at, individual things as we can, the auxiliary, sports, trying to think of some other, there were a few other things but the negative fund balances, and that, those are things we're really going to be watching this year, and just see how we come out for the year, the effectiveness of the programs, what they mean to the college, and anyway, I haven't heard anything back since then, so I'm taking as no news is good news. They're supposed to start looking at our budget this week, which is far ahead of where they were last year. I think I was getting questions on our budget as late as July last year, so I think they're getting things moving a little quicker. I can't remember if I put this in here or not, but they're actually talking about next year having the bar due April 1st, and then the budget's May 1st, so that everything's not at the same time. And so I actually think that might help us a little bit. The Go Bond, I put in my report. I'm making an effort to reach out to some different groups in the community just to pass information along on that. We haven't had a project on there for, I want to say maybe 6 years. We've missed 2 or 3 cycles of that. So I want to just go and talk about what our part on the Go Bond would do. It's a very small project compared to the 351 million, I think. But it's still important for us. So, I've got contacts with the Republican and Democratic community parties. I talked about it at Rotary last week. But basically, I think the key points to inform people, because we can't use government or college funds to promote or dissuade people from voting for something, is that it is not a tax increase. It is something that's just a continuation. It does fund projects throughout the state. And some of them, yes, 750,000 benefits Mesalands, for our infrastructure work on building D, but some of it also is statewide. For instance, like UNM Health. Some of those projects, at least that's the intent, would benefit everyone as far as, healthcare and training doctors and things like that. So they should come out with some more information, probably, I think, around July. I'm also going to ask the foundation if they would be willing to pay the $970, which is our part of the promotional part of the Go Bond campaign, because it cannot be paid out of college funds. So, but it can out of the Zanzibar, of course, I mentioned that we've got several people going to the Zanzibar conference this year. Couple things with that. You know, the last time we signed a Zanzibar agreement or contract was in 2023, I think. And we did it for 3 years. They gave us a huge discount. I wasn't a part of those conversations, but I'm guessing because of the financial status we were in, we paid like $150,000, I think. And so they approached us this year, you know, and the price was about $240,000. So that's what does that come out to be? A 70% increase or something. So we've been negotiating back and forth with them, and I think they're doing it in good faith. I think the last amount we got down to was around 205 or something like that. We're also looking at adding an info maker, or not info maker, that's already a part of it, communications module to it and something else. So it'd add to the cost, but they have brought it down. Mark may talk about this later, but he's trying to get an RFP out very quickly because, you know, anything 200,000 is going to require that for purchasing. And so we're going to try to run that through and have something for you all in the June meeting. We're also researching, we can get a lot better pricing if we go 5 years. And I know initially I was an advocate for as soon as we get things caught up, we got to look for something besides Zanzibar. Well, now I'm not so sure that that's the case, because just doing some checking on that, and I actually have a meeting with Becky Rowley tomorrow, she was at Clovis, now she's president at Santa Fe. But I think what we'll find is the cost of going into another program is going to be quite a bit more than what Zanzibar is. We don't know that yet, but so I'm kind of spouting out a lot of stuff. So where we're at right now, it's too late. You know, we would need a couple of years to change systems. You'd have to look at training, all that stuff. So we need to go with Zanzibar regardless. But now we're having to rush this because I wouldn't even been able to tell you when our Zanzibar contract expires. I should have been able to, but we're trying to get that done before July 1st. Just one other thing, you know, we were just having conversations with a pepper company about leasing part of the armory. I think that's fell through, not necessarily because of us, but because of some things with New Mexico. Okay, and so what my intention is okay, let's start looking at how we can use that for the college. I think that was the long-term plan, and now we're seeing the need for a little more space. We've had a little bit of conversation already about how could we use that for instructional space so that maybe we could get some capital outlay money geared toward that building. You know, it has the commercial kitchen. It's got a real, you know, for a building, it's got a decent little gym and stuff. So we're gonna kind of refocus that. That's about it. I am planning on going to seeing the College National Finals Rodeo June 14th through the 20th, but I think we'll have a discussion about maybe moving the board meeting to the following week, and that might work out better for some other things too. So I think that's all I can think of, but y'all, if you got any questions.
Any questions for Dr. Moss on his report?
The only thing that I would as we negotiate with Ginger Bar, as a new guy on, I've heard how hard it is to operate. We can't get the stuff out of it we need. We can't correlate stuff. The training very poor, and we've had it all these years, and we still don't know how to use it. So maybe as we negotiate training into that to get it off that.
Yeah.
So we don't go another period of time and it
Yeah.
doesn't do, we have it, but it doesn't do what we want it to do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And actually, I had a conversation with a gentleman this morning from there, and that was one of the things I mentioned was, you know, I think Genzabar is capable of doing more still than what we know, but, you know, the responsiveness we have gotten from it's better than it used to be, I think, but it's still, yeah, we're already having some of that conversation too.
It's hard to change the software, so the initial costs do change, and we've been sending a lot of people to training, so starting all over is so expensive.
Someone told me that Genzabar is really one of the 2 or 3 low priced packages, which is probably part of the reason it's not as user friendly. But when you're our size, you know, we can't afford a $500,000 ERP or whatever the initials are for that system.
But we can't hardly have a system that doesn't do the job that we need it to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, so my comment
We're
wasn't
caught
that I
in
felt like
between.
we needed to change. My
Yeah.
comment was why they want a new contract. Let's stab them a little bit
Yeah.
Yeah.
on providing us more,
With
better
adequate
training,
training.
Yeah.
or somebody on site training, or
Yeah.
you know, because it has been frustrating from what I hear in the finance meetings and
Any other questions for Dr. Moss? No, we'll go to the resolution for Eastern Plains Council of Government.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move that we join EPCOG.
All right, one of the things we do need to do too is to get on a representative and an alternate. And I think right now, Dr. Moss is the representative and I'm the alternate. Anybody else want to make a change to that? Not really.
Are you too good with that?
yeah. Mr. Primrose goes probably more than I do,
I went
and
to
he has a
last
lot of
time.
working familiarity with them. So that's good with me.
Right, all right. So I have a motion and do I have a second to, got a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
What's the second?
Roll call please.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty.
Yes.
Do we have the resolution for the credit card?
It should have been in your packet, was it not?
I didn't
I didn't see it.
It's under, it should be under the financials, I think. I might have put it under there with, Michelle's, but not as.
Let's see.
I'm still looking, but I didn't see it earlier.
I didn't see it either.
I would say, since you guys haven't had a chance to look at it, let's
Table that.
table that because again, a later discussion, but to give Mr. Martinez a little bit longer to get in some quotes and some other stuff that he'll talk about, I'd like to see if we can schedule a meeting next Wednesday or Thursday, and we could put that on there, I feel like.
All right. So I entertain a motion to table the resolution for to apply for the credit card.
I move we table the credit card resolution until it's available for inspection.
A second.
The motion is second, roll call please.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty.
Yes.
Next is the Mexico HED quarterly financial report. Once again, we can answer no on all of it, which is great. Any questions on the quarterly report? It's pretty simple and
All they would be is Dr. Moss has reviewed it and on board with it.
The goal is to never have to answer yes again to any of the
Right.
questions. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
So
any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second, roll call please to approve our third quarter financials with HED.
Mr. Lafferty,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez.
Yes.
Dr. Moss would like to have a special meeting next week. 26th, 27th, 28th, is that what you said? Is there,
yeah, preferably the 27th or 28th.
will anybody have time for a special meeting? It'll just be a few line items to finish the year, right?
I'm good.
Mr. Martinez will have to give the exact stuff. There'll be like the capital outlay, some, I'll let you talk about it.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So I had emailed Dr. Moss to request a special meeting for next week to get a little bit more time. So throughout this capital summary hearing project for HED, we have to present our top 2 projects to them on what we request to be funded for the next coming fiscal year. In doing that, it coincides with the ICIP, which is the Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan, which typically doesn't open until almost June. Unfortunately, the capital hearing portion of that, the application is due by June 1st. So the timeline just isn't realistic and lining up with HED's timeline. So not only this year, but I would also request consideration of changing the meeting dates for May and June in the upcoming fiscal years for that reasoning. But yes, there has been some difficulties obtaining some quotes as well for our BR&R funds, building replacement renewal, which is infrastructure improvements around campus. Out of the $159,000 that were allotted, all of it but $41,000 I believe has been encumbered, and those are due to some pending quotes that we're waiting for still. And I could guarantee that at least one of those quotes is going to be over $20,000, which would need board approval. It wasn't in time to my office to put on this board meeting for today, so that's one of the reasons. The other is to finalize the ICIP once DFA releases. There's a certification document that you have to certify your ICIP by board approval, and that's not available at this time yet, therefore I cannot do that. And then of course our 2 projects, the one is the repower of the wind turbine, which I have the information on that. However, that's one of the quotes I lack at this moment, is an official quote either from GE or a competitor. If we were to repower, it'd have to be a GE repower because of the platform's General Electric. If we were to go with the new build, then we'd have more options to get a quote from a competitor, a different platform of wind turbine. So that's what's holding us up. That's our number 1 overall ask to match the $4 million that we've received. We haven't received yet that. We've been notified that we'd be awarded federally, so that would be our match. There is a match on these summary hearing projects, 25% cash match, unless we could get in form of federal funds like we have with that $4 million would be our match for the wind turbine. I'm also proposing some improvements for infrastructure around campus. The emphasis by HED this upcoming funding cycle for the capital projects is safety related. And with that, I've looked at a few different things. We need to improve security cameras in the interior buildings and the exterior of the buildings to grow. On that, we've done it in phases recently in high critical areas so far with our own maintenance budget. However, we don't have the budget to continue to do that. There was a survey that hit, I believe, fall of last year before the legislative session that took place in January 2026, asking the local colleges throughout New Mexico if there's a need for these security type funds. To my knowledge, that was not part, it was not funded in part of the bills associated with HED in this last legislative session that just took place. Therefore, I think it's still a need. It hits the criteria of HED as far as being a safety improvement. With BR&R funds, and I was gonna state this on my report, and I'm kind of jumping all over, but we did get quotes to get 2 new fire alarm panels. That's critical, so we need to do so. I think we're gonna have the fire side taken care of. Now I want to make sure for all liability purpose security cameras as well as potential burglar alarms updated. They're old and outdated. But let's get back on track so I could focus. So yes, I am requesting a special meeting next week for the sake of getting these quotes in, and because I know one quote's going to be over 20,000, which will need board approval. And I'll send for any questions in regards to that matter.
So you have a specific date that gives you more time?
The 28th would be excellent because that gives more time. That would be next Thursday. That way we can meet the 3-day, at least a 72-hour notice to get the agenda out. Again, it's going to be simple. We'd only have the credit card resolution as well as any kind of quotes and the submittal of the project for capital summer hearing.
So everybody good with the 28th? Have a special meeting in 3 o'clock? That'll be good? All right.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
So I entertain a motion for that 3 o'clock meeting on the 28th.
I so move.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Mr. Terrace?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Primrose?
Yes. All right. Next is academic affairs, Mr. Kaiser. Better looking one.
That, let the minutes show. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Once again, I'm coming out of the bullpen for Mr. Kaiser. He hopes that he'll be present at next month's meeting, no problem. There are a number of notable events and activities. Of course, a lot of these have passed, and some of these are still upcoming. We're grateful for the board's, communities, students, parents, faculty, staff's participation in the student athlete dinner, and the graduation on May 15th, and the nursing pinning ceremony on the 16th. All of those, I think, went off very well and required a lot of planning, effort, dedication, some of which was after hours or on off days or both sometimes. We're very grateful for faculty, staff, the board, and everyone else involved in making sure that those went off successfully. The summer term begins June 1st for main campus and June 8th for the corrections students. I haven't crunched the numbers, but it certainly looks like enrollment is going to be slightly up this year as opposed to last year over the summer, maybe more than slightly up, depending if I think especially for corrections, but I think we're trending in the right direction. The under area 1 here, key updates and accomplishments. We indicate the interviews have been completed for both early childhood education faculty positions and mathematics faculty positions. I feel it's worth clarifying that the first interviews have been completed for early childhood. Second should be today and or tomorrow, tomorrow and or Thursday. And then we're nearly finished with the first round of interviews for the mathematics faculty positions. We hope to have both of those successful candidates on campus when faculty comes back in August. There are, I believe there were questions about the summer adventure camp. The dates for those are finalized June 8th through 11th, and my understanding is that advertising has begun for those activities. We've got a great deal of training and scheduling and trailer buying and all kinds of cool stuff going on the CDL side. We already have 5 cohorts worth of students who are ready to be educated and get out there. We just need to take the time and go through the process of actually educating them and testing them before they can do that. I believe last month the board moved on, or before, it all blends together. But when the board approved the special equipment for the wind energy training course that's going on at Guadalupe County Correctional Facility, all that paperwork has been processed. We're expecting to take delivery certainly by June 30th, and I think a lot sooner than that. Without going into too much dreary detail on everything you have in front of you, I think it's worth noting the items under the Educational Services Center. They did a lot of exam proctoring and a lot of tutoring, and the Honors College got some students graduated, and all those are very worthwhile endeavors. The adult education is going to continue well into the summer, which is a change from previous years where we stopped basically when main campus stopped, but a lot of those endeavors are going to continue well into the summer now. The ESL classes will run until June 17th this year, as opposed to they normally ended around finals week in the previous year. So they're going to keep pushing them a little bit further this year. The library, again, I want to provide an update on the library. The item under that says we are receiving several Ask a Librarian requests. The official number on that is north of 260 right now. So our intrepid librarian, Nikki Vasquez, individually processes all of the Ask a Librarian requests and finds individual research materials for each of those requests before returning them to the incarcerated students. She's going to keep getting those in until the corrections term is completed, so that number will probably climb, but we're very proud of her and the effort that she puts into that and the individualized attention that even those students receive because of her hard work. I believe those are all the items that I wanted to make sure and highlight for you.
If I could add,
Please do.
Dean Garcia slipped a few in there at the last minute, and we actually had 23 completers in the adult ed program, which is 2 more than last year, but met his goal of 20 that he wanted to set, and that program just keeps growing, which
And I
is a
think
good thing.
it's a great thing. And he indicated here that they had 12 students who were going to walk. I believe it was more than that wound up walking. I don't remember the exact figure, but it was quite a few students who wound up walking at graduation, which is awesome.
I have a question.
Please.
On the Ask a Librarian
Mm-hmm.
requests, how does she give the information? Does she print it out and send it that way, or?
She might. She might. I believe what she typically does is to email the educational coordinator at the site, because each facility has their own, and then they'll print it out and give it to the student at that point. Works a little faster that way. If we send physical materials, then they have to go through the security to make sure that there's not a file baked into the cake. And if we send it to them electronically, then it's a little bit faster to do. Yeah.
I've got a question. We're looking for a dry van, and I know there's one over south of the Student Center building sitting and I think it's from the old truck driving program.
Believe so.
Is there any reason that dry van couldn't be used in the program?
I don't know the answer to that. It looks like Dr. Moss is
I can
nodding.
answer a little bit.
Okay.
I asked that question as well. That is currently, according to Dr. Hungermuller, filled with items from the dinosaur museum or things that, you know, kind of connect to it. And I've got conflicting stories. Dr. Hungermuller said that it was pulled out of the someplace in the armory, maybe the shooting range or something, and it got mold. Then someone else told me, no, I don't think that it had, we think we got it out. So there's that. One, we don't have a place to go with that, or what we'll have to do to go through that stuff if we have to hire like a firm or something to clean it. And then the cost of fixing the trailer, we don't know what that is yet either, but I don't want that trailer to just keep sitting there either.
More efficient just to use it for a storage facility and leave.
Yeah, but we have been asking that, and I don't want that trailer to just keep sitting there. So we're going to get to that, but
As far as a new trailer, or not a new one, but the trailer, are we in the bid process? So there's been a couple
Yes.
months we've said we've been looking, but have we actually put it out for bid? Because it shouldn't be that hard to get a trailer.
No, it's not that hard to get a trailer. We're looking for a sweet deal, I think, is what's been taking the time. And they've got their eyes on one that I don't believe approaches the limit for the board to have to vote on. The question is the timing and when they can go collect it and things like that. But it should be imminent, as soon as Friday even.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, that's relatively recent. Relatively.
So I have a question. So it says under like scheduling of the CDL exams, it says we have 54 students have taken the CDL exams for a total of 160 successfully completing.
Yes.
Over what length of time? Where do those numbers come from?
I do not know what the period of time is on that. I do know that we are and have been a CDL testing site for however many years it's been. And so I couldn't tell you when we started counting that, but that obviously does not specifically Mesalands alumni, just CDL students who have tested on our property using our tester.
Yeah. In that, is the 54 students,
I see what
are
you're
they
saying,
taking
man.
multiple exams? Is where we're getting 160 exams taken?
I don't believe so. I think this refers to the total number of successful CDL students over the broad spectrum of how long we've been testing here on site. You know, I think they do it in handfuls every few months.
160 exams.
I think the 54 are a little bit more lately, and the 160 represents the grand total of students we've tested over however long we've been doing it. We'll get clarification on that.
But the students only test on one type of truck, right?
Right.
Since all we have done is testing, it's the student bringing their truck, you know, like if they're going to drive for a company or something, they bring that. I don't think our examiner even supplies I don't think they've ever supplied a truck. They bring their own just for the testing.
Yeah.
And that's all they do is just the testing.
But it's only in the parking lot?
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know specifically where it takes place. I know the parking lot is involved.
That's where it's kind of like, I'm just referring to a bus exam. You know, when you take your driving part of the CDL for a bus, you do some of the stuff in the marked off places like backing, whatever, but then you also go on a route, and I think they do both of those in the testing. I'm 99.999% sure that's what
That sounds right.
And so piggybacking off of that question, I know by the state of New Mexico, they're supposed to have at minimum 2 years CDL experience. So how much experience does Mr. Rincones have?
I do not know that. That's something we can follow up on in next month's meeting. Because I wasn't involved in his onboarding process, so I haven't. Yeah,
And you're aware that he's not the one doing the CDL testing.
that's correct.
He-
Yeah, he's,
You can't train and do the testing.
Philip
Dominguez
Dominguez.
does it.
Right.
Oh, okay, so
I see him
he's
on
an
the-
instructor and then he's, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is it by head? Does anybody know, is it by head? Cause one of these was like $3,800. So is that like 10 people? Is that 2 people? Is it?
I want to say the cost of the exam is like what, 300?
That we get-
You're asking questions.
I wouldn't venture the guess. I wouldn't venture the guess because I don't know for certain.
Yeah,
Right, but that expense will stay there if we remain to be a CDL tester.
It would.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would, yeah.
So you're thinking a student pays $300 or we pay Mr. Dominguez $300?
I don't know the exact numbers, but the test is like, let's say 400, and then we pay like 250 or 300 to Mr. Dominguez to do the test, and then we keep 100 or whatever for,
Admin program.
there's a breakdown there that I could get for you, but I don't know the exact numbers.
Well, I'd just be curious because it shows up on the financial reporting, and sometimes it's as high as 3, other times it's 800.
Yeah.
Just an idea of
Yeah.
how that program works and if it's making us enough money I'm guessing it makes us enough money to pay Mr. Dominguez.
Well, it pays him, and so like what he's paid is that amount out of the total that we give him.
That we collect.
Yeah, and so, if he does 10 tests this month, then let's say he gets 3,000. If he does one test this month, then it's just like maybe 300.
Any other questions for?
Good question, though.
Yeah.
No. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Student Services, Mr. McVeigh.
Good afternoon. Maybe sometime I can go before academics, because they sometimes steal my thunder about enrollment and student events. And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
no, you're fine. We
Switch those.
yeah, we work together on a lot of things, so it ends up working out. But yeah, the increases we are expecting for the summer to see increases in enrollment, specifically of course corrections. Also, we're going to see some increases this summer also there. Today and this week we've had Jessica and Chantel out, so our Dean of Student Services and then our academic advisor out registering students at the correctional facilities. They're just doing a great job advising and getting students registered there in person on site, which is a great service to those facilities. We've also had trainings that have gone on, again April 27th to 29th. The CADA training, which is a fantastic training for advisors, and so we sent them there to get some further training. Athletics, we had our banquet Monday. Many of you were there. Thank you so much for attending and being there. And we also have 2 students that qualified for the NFR, or CNFR, College National Finals Rodeo. And so they'll be attending that. So we're excited to have them attend that, and then there will be a full report in June that will be provided to you all. As you can see, we had 80 fourth graders that were on campus. And just a great opportunity there. Great work by faculty and staff, all willing to help and to instruct the students while they were here. The children made comments like, "This has been my favorite field trip that they've had." And I don't know if it's for that moment or for, ever, but I'm going to take it either way. So they just had a great time, had a lot of fun, and it was great to have the participation that we had. She continues to strengthen community relationships and bring students on campus for tours. She's found, of course, when a student comes for a tour, they're most likely to apply, probably immediately following the tour. So she's had some good results with that. Marketing has been going very well also. You recall we've been working on our website and getting, we switched over more than a year ago now, I think. And but we've been able to adapt that and sharpen it as we've been doing more advertising on Google and social media. And you can see the ad clicks there as they're increasing, but not just that, but also organic, which means that it's not just the ads that are out there, but also people are finding us by keywords and search engine optimization results that are associated with our website. And so we're getting great conversions and lead generation. He's tracking now the clicks on our application button that's coming in from Google Ads. He's paying attention to, what pages are being visited the most, and we're finding ways to better hone that and take advantage of that for advertising purposes and getting into application. We've created a lot of new things, and again, just seeing a lot of good activity in our marketing department and what Yvonne has been accomplishing there. There's, of course, some items that we need to address, notably SEO audit for our website, which he's currently setting up, and working on a few other things there. Again, just continuing to make sure that we are being noticed and that we're getting out there so people know who Mesalands Community College is and what we do and provide in marketing. So those are some things that we've been doing just the past couple weeks since our last board meeting, but I would stand for any questions that you might have or try to explain anything.
Any questions for Mr. McRae? No, thank you very much. Appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
Next is our financial. Ms. Arias is
She here tonight? Okay. I'll refer back to the end of the month to date. Yes, it's kind of crude, but I've penciled in kind of percentages of where we're at on our budget. This is back in my report, page 12. We're running. Through the end of April, it's 83% of the year. We're of course revenues are 105%. Now I would add that we still have some funds that we the second drawdown from financial aid. I've went blank. There's I'll think of it later. So that's still probably a little understated, and of course we still have June before we'll get our last appropriation and some other funding. Expenses, 83.1% on total expenses, so we're running pretty close overall on the budget. 33.7 and 75% on the non-ING other funds. And so one of the things that it doesn't show here is, some of the like instructional expenses are probably running a little higher than what we started out the year, but when you take into account, and Josh, you correct me if I say something that you don't agree with, but with the huge increase in correctional enrollment in the spring, you know, we're gonna pay adjuncts a little more, teach those additional class, or Dr. Edwards, to pay those a little more. So the fact that we're still running really close to our budget line overall is, in my mind, a good thing, because our revenues are up, even if you take out, you know, the 450,000 for the nursing that we got for this year and last year, and the there was another amount. I think the last ERC was in July of 2025. So, you know, even taking those things into account, our revenue's up, and what I want to see next year, or this coming year, is when we have our numbers caught up, you know, we won't be guessing as much where we're at, and if we could do a bar in, like, say, October, and see, okay, let's say our fall enrollment is up more than what we expected, then we could do that adjustment and not wait till the end of the year. But anyway, so that's pretty close to where we're at. I did add in the revenue, I think 2 months worth of appropriation, because that hadn't been posted yet, but we know we received it. I've got the register where that came in. I can't remember the other revenue. There's correction billing. We haven't done that for the spring. And so those are things that are pretty much done, but we just haven't received funding. We haven't billed for that funding. So those are additional revenues as well that still have to come in. I would say probably around another 600 to 650,000 still. That's a really rough estimate. But if you have any other questions, let me know.
Any questions for Dr. Moss on the financials?
So I just want to ask again, and we've asked, and I know we're going through a difficult time, but a list of checks in the report by date doesn't help me get a feel for our expenditures at all. Is there any way you could take that report and do it, filter it or sort it by department or by, you know what I'm saying? So
General ledger.
So we gave 5 pages full of checks by
Yeah.
date, and there's no real way to get a feel for, other than look at big expenditures and say, like, I'm unfamiliar with who True Business Solutions are.
That's Judy Sharma.
Okay, that makes sense. So in this set of things, we wrote her an $8,600 check, and we wrote her an $18,767 check.
And that would have been for March and April.
So if you get in a feel for what True Business, you have to know what day we wrote her the check and go
Right.
look.
Okay.
You see? So if there's a way to just take that report and sort it by something that would,
Departments, categories, or something.
right,
Mark, I think that might be something Joyce could do if you can't.
So I know specifically on my PO report, I generated where it has specifically the PO number, it has the date the PO was created, the dollar amount, the vendor, the department, and the GL line item that it's hitting. Unfortunately, that's not quite what you're asking for, because that's just meaning that the funds are being encumbered. That doesn't necessarily let you know when those funds would be spent or if they've been spent to date yet. There are times where we have created POs and we didn't use them to the full potential, so then they'd be unencumbered. But I imagine that's something like Dr. Moss was stating, we could work with Ms. Joyce to try to come up with a new report. The report that you see in your board packet, I believe, is just something that the business office creates on their own through an Excel spreadsheet, just based on the check that's been cut to pay that invoice at the time. But I imagine if we go through Genzabar, there has to be some kind of function some kind of check cut report, some kind of payment to vendor that would specify more information. I know there's GL reports, I don't know if you can sort those by date, like you said, so to show exactly where it's hidden.
Well, just asking, but so, I know what you mean about how you reference your PO. So if you had a check, because when you request a check, it typically has to say, okay, it goes to PO
Correct.
1500. So they could typically make something to reference that, and then you would know, hey, we started out with X amount of dollars, we've spent this much, this is where we're at, and we could have a running total that way, and we would know where the money
Yeah,
was.
just to get a feel for the expenditures in the same frame to where you're not.
And I believe this is some of the struggle we have with Jen's Bar as far as.
I just got through saying with a ginger bar, we're gonna. I'm kidding.
So let me put it this way: all this data resides in Jen's Bar somehow. We have InfoMaker, which can pull data from Jen's Bar to create these custom reports. We need to get the appropriate personnel to formulate the report you're requesting, and it should be easy. It's just pulling the data from the right spaces and plugging it in. That's above me, unfortunately. I can't do that. I don't have that training or the knowledge of that, but I believe we have people on campus that could. If not, we could get them trained to that potential where we could pull these types of reports. Again, I've seen a lot of data, and I know you have to enter the GL, you have to enter the department, so it lives in Jen's Bar now. It's just how do we pull that out and get it into a readable report that's acceptable to the board.
So what you're talking about, Mr. Lafferty, is I thought what you said originally was like if we could group these per department, where they're coming out of as a whole, but then also maybe where we're at, say on a purchase order for the year. Okay, if we have a purchase order for 20,000 and this expense is 1,500, where are we at? Is that kind of what you were saying, Mr.
Right,
Harris?
because that way if you're having to allocate funds from somewhere else because you're falling short, we can say,
Right.
okay, well, back in May, we had X amount of dollars, and we still have these projects or these items, and so then where are we gonna get this money from? But then we can actually see it with no question
Right.
that this is where money came from, this is
Right.
where it was spent, there was,
And that
accountability.
happens frequently, well, this example, like, I wanna say something to do with rodeo feed or hay or something. Okay, this year we actually spent maybe 1,000 or 1,500 over the PO. And so then we had to go back and do a change approval for that change in the PO. Okay, that gives me something to kind of start. I think Ms. Chang could probably work on that through InfoMaker. But
Well, back to one of our main roles is the financial and having a feel for, yes, we're going in the right direction, other than you telling us, not that we don't trust you, but just to have
I don't know.
just have a feel for, so there's a lot of information on that report, and you have to pretty much go line by line to get a feel for it. So if we could group it into departments,
Yeah.
something other than date. The
Yeah.
date, putting it all together by date doesn't.
Yeah.
So
And I have another question if you're done, Mr. Lafferty, I'm sorry. But so like we have all these disbursements for financial aid,
Mhm.
for instance. So we have a few dozen checks, so to speak. But why can't we do those electronic deposit? And we wouldn't have to be having outstanding checks. You could have like a notch file sent to these different financial institutions, and they're done. And if they're rejected, we have maybe a handful saying that it's a closed account or something, as opposed
Right.
to waiting for all these checks to clear.
That's a good question. One, I think that, and don't quote me on this, Josh, you might have a better idea, but don't some of our students, they don't even have a checking account or anything?
Yes,
And so they, not all of them,
no, not
but but a lot of them don't, and so, but it is something we could work toward, I would think.
I think that would
I don't-
eliminate a lot of stuff for your,
Yeah.
you know, financial aid department having to, you know, get these students in to get checks or, you know, have them.
Yeah.
I guess what is it, 2 students can go in at a time for privacy or something like that?
Yeah.
And this way, if you create these files and you send them off, you know they were
Yeah.
deposited and you're not, we don't have 5 pages of outstanding.
Of course, you also, I don't know, we may also have some students that don't wanna give us their checking account information for direct deposit. I don't know, but it's a good question. We are switching, I think we should be if we're not yet, but we're trying to move, so up until just, a couple months ago, we were doing pretty much all reimbursements, like for travel and stuff, writing a check. But if everybody has to have their payroll direct deposit, then reimbursement should be done the same way.
We have to have ours direct deposit. So like.
Yeah, well, and I don't know what the discrepancy was, so we're trying to make sure we have everybody sign off that I can receive my reimbursement direct deposit and get rid of, so that's kind of the same line. We can
I just think
follow
it
up.
might be easier.
You have a
Once
little
it's
more
set up,
control on
absolutely.
an employee where you
Yeah, than you would on the student.
than you would on a student and an employee. I went direct deposit on the payroll and had employees that were disgruntled about it, but you have more control on the employee than
Yeah.
a student or others for ACHs.
One last thing for me. I noticed that we're having, we made payments to Grease Monkey and Clovis to have oil changes done. And we bought feed or horse supplies or something from One Stop in Clovis. I really think we ought to spend our money closer to home. We want the community to support us. If there's a specific reason why we couldn't get that oil changed here, or we couldn't buy that feed here, then I'll leave that to you. But I really think that we should not be going out of town, especially with $5 diesel, to have work done.
And we have had that conversation already.
Okay.
But with that said, I've also said, we can't afford to pay 1.5 times the price for feed to get it locally versus someplace else.
Yeah.
And so that was my direction. I want everything local that we can possibly get here, unless the price becomes enough justification where we're throwing money
And
at it.
as long as we verify that we're paying 1.5 times.
Well,
But-
yes.
But as far as feed goes, I think you'll find we have 3 Purina dealers in Clay County.
Hmm.
So even if you didn't want to deal with one person,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The other part, as much as we spend, if you get the right guy at the table, you could save money.
Okay.
So, and I say that, I'm not asking you to change it, I'm asking that when we can spend money here, let's spend money here. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
That's all I have.
No, any other questions on the financials? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial report.
With the president's recommendation, I would approve the financial report as provided.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
and Mr. Lafferty.
Yes.
All right. Next, we'll get to talk to Mr. Martinez.
Thank you. So I'd like to pick up with the insurance project almost exactly 3 years later, with finally getting some of the roof projects going again on building A, which is our main building, specifically over the library. It's in a bad state. It'll be replaced. And honestly, about 30 minutes before this meeting, if even that, maybe a little shorter than that, I received an email from the roofing vendor in regards to the roofing projects. They were supposed to start already on building G, on this building, as well as building A. Building A, they were waiting until our semester completed last week with graduation to minimize disruptions. But with today's email, I skimmed it real quick while I was sitting there during this meeting, and it looks like they're proposing a few changes, positive changes. Building D, for example, the fine arts building across the street, they were originally going to just replace the metal. It's a metal roof, they're going to replace the metal. Unfortunately, based on all of the roof penetrations and the cuts and angles, they couldn't guarantee a warranty on that roof that it would be waterproof. That water wouldn't get out someplace. So similar to building E, they're proposing to, don't know the technical term, but pretty much put the board in between the metal like they did on building E and cover it in a TPO, which would seal it and it'd have a membrane. I think that option's better. It's probably a lot better for the college actually because they're willing to offer a 20-year warranty, whereas if they replace it with the metal, they would not warranty it because they couldn't prove it'd be watertight. So they'll be awaiting our approval as the college to go ahead and move forward on that route with building D. And they're also going to change the scope slightly by the courtyard on building A. We had some issues where the drainage, it's at such a slope, it's coming off into the courtyard and floods the courtyard, which then creates issues to our building potentially for the foundation. They're also wanting to put some metal flashing and improve a few things. Again, I believe it's all in the favor of the college. It is a slightly different scope, but once I review it further and speak with Dr. Moss on it, I do feel that it's going to be in our best option to go off those recommendations from the contractor. They've already relayed those recommendations up to the engineer over the project, which is being handled through the insurance company. And everybody seems to be on board with these proposed changes from the contractor. And again, just quickly skimming it, I feel like that's going to be in our best interest as well. So that should be taking place, I'm assuming, once we give them approval to move forward with that amended scope. I need to figure out a new timeline on when they're expecting to be on campus to replace those roof sections, but hopefully sooner rather than later. Next, we had briefly touched about the summer hearing project earlier. Originally, the college was requesting to request supplemental funding for the repower of the existing wind turbine. We're waiting to hear back from GE to look at our options to see, based on an estimate, if they provide one, what's more advantageous to the college, just a repower of the existing wind turbine or a complete new rebuild. We are limited on the repower if we repower the existing platform due to its age and its size. To me, my opinion, from what I've heard from people in the industry and from our instructors on campus, the better route's probably a complete new rebuild of an entire new wind turbine. But again, that's going to be determined based on funding, what's allowable on a quote, if we could see that. If not, then yes, our next best option is the original plan of repowering the existing GE wind turbine on campus. Since we are allowed to apply for 2 summer hearing project capital projects, the other, again, since it's safety oriented, we're looking at the infrastructure improvements across campus as well as security improvements. That's upgraded security alarms, that's upgraded cameras, interior, exterior, etc. And I'll be putting that scope together for y'all's approval next week at the special meeting. Other things going on in my area, as Dr. Massa mentioned earlier, I'm in the process of an RFP for enterprise resource planning and software. That's pretty much our accounting software. That's our enrollment software that tracks everything with the students. It's kind of a one package deal. Right now, we're able to get all of that through Genzabar. They have all of the modules that provide everything that we would need. But unfortunately, due to the threshold, anything over $60,000 requires us to go out for a formal RFP, request for proposal process, or if it was a construction process, then we'd have to go out for a formal sealed bid, unless, the only caveat is if there was an existing state purchasing agreement that had already gone through the procurement process, or a third party co-op like CES or an HGAC or Omnia Partners, anybody that's gone through the actual requirements that meet the state, New Mexico state statute for the RFP process. Unfortunately, Gensbart is not associated with any third-party vendor of that sort. That's why we have to go out for RFP. They would be the most advantageous if we were to go out for RFP and another vendor was better for the college. Then there'd still be some kind of transfer process that would take at least 2 to 3 years to get all the data together and transfer it over to a new company if possible. So that's been, yes.
Can you do sole source because there's nobody else? I know you have to advertise. Have to advertise and see if anybody else wants to bid on it.
So we have looked into that. I know if you claim sole source, you have to advertise the Sunshine Portal for 30 days, and if all clears and you're fine, no issue. It's kind of a gray area because there are other companies that do provide the same type of services and can meet all the criteria that we need. The issue that we have is they're not, how can I state this? Genzavar is very specific on our continuity of operations right now. We can't just jump into a new ERP system and get the ground running. There's that transition process. As far as a true sole source, again, I'm not sure. I have the paperwork ready. I've discussed it. But on the safe side, we can meet the deadline to go out for RFP and still select a vendor. And one thing just for general knowledge with an RFP, it's not necessarily what's the most cost effective. It's based on your scope of work, what fits the criteria and meets the needs the most for your entity, for the college. Without predetermining, I don't want to predetermine anything since we're going to go out for RFP. But this would be a fine example if they would meet the criteria to continue operations, whereas there could be a lapse if we went with somebody else. But again, that would all be determined by the review committee for the RFPs. We'd go out, we'd advertise, we'd open that to everybody. They have a fair option to apply. And then the committee would review those RFPs and proposals once they're received and determine what's in the best interest of the college. And then we go into contract negotiations for price. And then go on from there and then select them. And I'm not sure if this was brought up yet by Dr. Moss, I don't think it was, but due to that and then just other things to close out the end of the fiscal year, I'd also request that we move June's meeting back a week from the typical third Tuesday, kind of for the same purpose, to make sure we have ample time to complete that RFP process and award the contract to a vendor, and as well as any last minute things to close out the fiscal year. It's just May and June are busy times for the end of the fiscal year.
Quick question on Zanzibar before we move on. In your report, we talked that we were negotiating with them. We went from 240 to 205. And we're doing that outside of a contract. And now we're going out for RFP. So really that number should show up on their RFP, right?
It should, yeah.
Okay, so
And that's what I'm going
That's
to do
the
now.
expectation.
So today I didn't get a chance to. Tomorrow the plan is to meet with our IT director and come up with a scope that is general, that doesn't show favoritism to one company or another. It's general. What are our needs? What's the legal, not even legal, the technical language, I guess, that we would need, so I could come up with a scope for that RFP. And then at that point, then we're off and running to go through the process itself.
And we kind of got, I mean, it's kind of, the order is not, we probably should have, we should have started this RFP process months ago. And then, I don't know how to, it's not probably ideal no matter which way you look at it, but yeah, that's my expectation.
my thought would be if I was the representative for Gingerbread and you're negotiating with me right now, and in a week, Mark's gonna send me a RFP and make me compete for that. That's the part that.
Yeah.
And it sounds like we wanna use them anyway, so.
So again, I can't predetermine that, but what I did attend the last meeting with James Barwell, one of them recently within the last week, and that's when I brought it to their attention, saying, "Whoa, before we go anywhere in negotiations, we need to stop." And it's fine. We could have those talks as long as they don't have any knowledge or help in preparing the RFP. That they don't have, they're not privy to any other information that any other company that would be interested would have. So they didn't state anything, or we didn't release anything that would alter or favorite anybody in that manner.
But an ERP or whatever company, if they know anything, which they should, you can't switch in a month. I mean, it's just not possible. So, anyway, go ahead, sorry.
So that's kind of where we're at. Like I said, I put everything together, waiting for the scope, get everything fine-tuned where it looks good. We'll advertise. My projection is to advertise in Sunday's Albuquerque Journal. That seems to be what I've utilized in the past. That reaches out to the most people. Once that happens, we'll keep it open for 3 weeks. They'll have 3 weeks to interested vendors to supply a proposal to us at the college. There will be a week period where it's open for questions. If they have any follow-up questions, they reach out to me or IT, and we respond, get those questions answered. After that's done, you have your ultimate deadline. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's down to the minute. If it's a minute late, we can't accept it. And then it goes to the review committee. We give our recommendation to the board. The board would either approve or deny our recommendation. And then at that point, again, contract negotiations and approving the contract, which would meet our deadline by the end of the fiscal year to make sure there's no lapse in service. So that's kind of where we're at with the RFP. Next, we'll go more into the grounds side of things. We did hire a land surveyor to go through and survey 3 properties. One was the property where the President's House is located. The other property was the Dinosaur Museum. And the last was the property to the north of the Armory. And that is specifically in an effort to get student housing, the dirt lot across from the Armory. We're looking for property boundaries and a legal property description to see if we'd have to subdivide any property. That property currently belongs to Tucumcari Public Schools. In a previous board meeting a couple of years ago, they had stated that they would donate that property to the college as long as we utilize it for student housing. Unfortunately, during that meeting, there was never any legal property description on how much property they were going to donate. And that's why we went along with the survey to get a legal description. That way I could present that to the Tucumcari Public School Board and ask them to donate the exact tract or legal description of property. That way we can move forward with student housing. We do have a few leads on that. The company that Dr. Moss mentioned earlier that we were speaking of potentially a lease at the Armory. They have some housing options as far as these. They're not as rough as when I hear shipping containers or package housing, like I think like a Connex shipping container, and I get these bad vibes and I worry about it. It's not that. They're actually really nice. They were purchased through a surplus auction by this company, and they stated they'd be willing to donate them to the college at no cost. If anything, we may just have to get them transported from Arizona here to New Mexico. So the first step, I've been speaking to the owner of the company, is making sure that they meet construction industry building specifications for the state of New Mexico. If they do, I'll be the first to jump over that opportunity and get that and see what works best for the college. So I imagine we'd have to install utilities, water, sewer, electric, as well as potentially put them on a concrete pad. I don't know. So that's the next step, is reaching out to construction industries to make sure that they're all in compliance and we don't have no issues. So that was a positive out of something that didn't come to fruition as far as a lease, but it's a positive in my book as well, where we're gonna be able to get that Army and turn it back to utilization by the college for the students. That's what it is intended for, so I think that's a much better use of it as well. I also wanted to mention a few of these projects that have been sitting, waiting on either quotes, POs, project scheduling. One of those was the flooring for the college house, President's House up off Omarosa. All the supplies are in for the flooring project, and the installation has been scheduled for June 8th. Also following up on the BR&R project, as stated earlier, for this fiscal year, we had $159,000 and some change to do renewal and replacement projects throughout campus. A few examples, what we're going to be working on that I can tell you that we've encumbered and have the POs ready to go. We're going to move forward with the installation of the security window for the business office. We're also replacing some broken windows that are on the wind energy building. We will be working on the leaky roof on building A that was not covered by insurance, that is currently over one of the office spaces as well as a fitness center. We're also looking, so here's one that we're waiting on the quote for, that we're gonna do, is painting some of the exteriors of the campus building so they match, and it seals it better. The Dinosaur Museum building as well is in need of having the paint stripped off, power washed off of the block, as well as sealed and painted. We've had some water infiltration in that building. So a lot of our priorities are based on protecting the integrity of our structures. That's going back and keeping all the weather elements out, specifically water, prevent mold damage, and further damage to these buildings. And that's what I was saying about, to date, we have about $41,000 remaining that we have to spend. And that's part of the reasoning for the special meeting next week, is to make sure that we get those quotes in on time, get board approval, and meet the project deadline before the end of June 30th. A lot of day-to-day operations, a lot of spending money, a lot of procuring things, so I might have slipped. I do have one more thing I do. So the money that we received last year, the $750,000 for our capital project, it was meant to redesign to make the restrooms in Building A ADA compliant, as well as remodel them, and some additional work by the library. There has been some settling around the fountain. What looks like settling around the foundation of the exterior near the library. We do currently have, in my opinion, a backwards landscaping kind of negative slope going towards the building instead of away from the building. So that needs to be addressed. And the first step in that process was speaking with an engineering company to help us with the design, make sure we're ADA compliant. Prior to this meeting, I was meeting with the engineer. This engineer happened to be working with me on the Building A project, on the remodel of the student service area, and they had already started drawings for the restroom area over there. However, we ran out of the funds at that time, so we weren't able to pick up and finish the design of that. So in my opinion, the most cost effective is to start back with the company that actually had started the drawings to save money instead of having to start from scratch with the new company. So more to come on that. We'll be going through the procurement process to hire that engineer to meet that scope, and get moving on those funds that have been sitting there for a little bit. Those funds do not revert until 2029. However, my plan is to get the project complete, all the funds spent and drawn down, hopefully within a year and a half. And with that, I'll stand for any additional questions.
Any questions for Mr. Martinez? No, thank you very much. Appreciate all you.
Yes, sir.
We need to do the approval of the fire
Oh, yes.
alarm, purchase of the fire alarm. There's two
So
proposals.
Part of the BR&R stuff that I mentioned earlier, that's the one I failed to mention. Again, it's a safety, any kind of safety or integrity to the building, potential damage, those are the highest priority for the college right now on completing those projects. So these are two buildings that we've had issues with. They have the oldest alarm panels on campus. And we we've been spending thousands of dollars, at least the past 2 years, that I know I've been part of the projects that we're kind of throwing our money down the drain. It's a Band-Aid effect. We fix things and something else goes out. We fix things and something else goes out. So with these two bid amounts, one is for Building D, which is the Fine Arts Building, and the other is for Building C, which is where our CDL program will be hosted. IT's offices are in there as well. And with that, they'll go through and replace some of the smoke detectors, anything that needs to be changed to go with the new fire panel. And this should eliminate the recurring issues we've been having with them. So instead of ongoing Band-Aid effects, replacing, repairing things, this should be brand new and this should last us for a while. We will be using the GSA contract. That's the reason we didn't have to get 2 additional quotes for this. And the amounts for each one of them is over 20,000, which does throw it to board approval. So we met all the procurement guidelines. At this time, I'd send for any specific questions for the scope or project of the 2 buildings. If not, I kindly request your approval of these price quotes.
Any questions on purchasing these 2 fire alarm systems for 2 different buildings?
Funding from,
Building renewal and replacement of VRR. That's part of that 159,000 I mentioned.
Any other questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I so move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Primrose?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Thank you.
There's no reports from the governing senates. Trustees' comments? Any comments from trustees?
All the events that I attended this last week were all really nice. Good to see all the students getting awards and everything, so it's good.
Good. Any other comments?
I'd like to echo that as well. It was really nice ceremonies. The only thing is, I think they were having issues with the microphone. So is that something maybe they could look into for the next event? I mean, it's a little odd to have it on this side of the podium instead of the front side of it, and it was a little warm.
Both days, I thought.
I was like, whew. Yeah, it was.
I had too many clothes on.
I don't know what it just didn't feel like there was enough air circulating, and the students were having a moment while they were waiting because they were hot. So I don't know if it's just maybe air conditioning or something, but it was still nice. They did a good job putting things together. So thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Not, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Okay, so move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Primrose?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
She's waiting for you to.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I was writing some notes.
No, she wants to go home. All right, I'll entertain a motion to reconvene from executive session.
Okay, so move.
A motion and a second, roll call, please.
Mr. Primrose?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Mr. Terrace?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Right, there was no action needed for executive session, no correspondence. College is closed Monday. And our next meeting is scheduled for June the 8th, the 16th.
We have a special meeting next week.
Next week.
Oh, yeah. Special, it's right down here. Before we get there, we'd like to have a special meeting advertised for May the 29th.
29th or the 20th?
20.
Is 8th?
20.
Whatever Thursday is, right?
No, it's Wednesday.
28.
28th?
27th is Wednesday, 28th is Thursday. I think the 28th.
28th, Thursday, yeah.
Okay. Somebody can't write notes. So,
My calendar, let me see.
we have a special meeting for the 28th
28th, yeah. I have it on.
at 3 o'clock. Now, our next meeting in June, I think we've decided we'd like to move from the 16th to the 23rd at 3 o'clock. Do we have any money in the budget for board training?
I thought we did, but I don't know that for sure.
There's a meeting, a conference in Anaheim, August the 7th, I think,
ACCT or?
ACCT, which I'm gonna go to California at that time, and might check to see if there's. I mean, travel. I'm going there anyway, or in that general area, but we'll discuss that later if you look at.
I can't remember. I have to go back and look, but I think we talked about last year, you know.
I think we were gonna wait till next year.
Okay. But I think we can move some stuff.
Might.
It might not be the best way to do it, but we can move some stuff to make sure of that. Cause I'm all, you know, anytime you all want to go to like the ACCT conference or, that's not the one, there's also one in October, isn't there, an ACCT?
That's the conference. This is a training. It's for, talks about new trustees or the president and the chairman, or it's just a refresher on policy and what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
But I think it's 4th, 5th, and 6th. But I'm going to be in California, and I thought, well, if I go to a training, I might as well could do it when I'm already out there. Okay.
You
Yes,
mentioned policy. Wasn't we gonna have some policy and administration stuff to look over at this meeting? Was the plans?
Yeah.
I just now thought about that.
I haven't got to that. So we need to get the personnel handbook, the administrative handbook, and then even further back than that, the board policies, which, so if you remember, I think some of it was maybe modified back during the previous administration. And I started to go through there and look for some of that stuff. It might,
we had a very few changes.
yeah,
But what we decided is we really, so that we have enough time to go through everything, we kind of approved as is until we got caught up and got to a situation where we had more staff time to do that. Seems like that's what we decided.
yeah. But the personnel and administrative, so we went through the process, collected any suggestions from faculty and staff, got that out to the executive team to review, and where we stopped. So Kyle and I were sitting down, and you know, things like you know, spelling or grammar type things, changing dates, I wasn't really concerned about, but any of the policy changes, I wanted to put them together, and that's where we're at right now, is putting those together, send them back out to the staff and faculty so that everybody can look at it, and then send to you all. But I've got to get that done in the next week or two, because you guys need time to look at it, and it'll be just the changes. So, you know, that was another thing we had to do, was take out all the other stuff that took up more pages. It's just the changes and where they're at and what it said before.
And it'll be in a red lined edition, you know, with the strikeouts and the addition, and
It'll show the
that'll be in a
right.
color
Yeah,
as
yeah.
to what's being changed and
Yeah.
so forth like that.
Yeah, we don't want to, yeah. And for
That's
you
a whole
guys-
lot easier to review them that way and see what it is. And
Yeah, what, three years or so ago, you know, they made some changes, kind of put it in front of the board, but he couldn't tell what was being changed very easily, and so, yeah.
But didn't we change it almost back to what it was before
A lot
they
of it,
did,
yes.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that change
That,
has already
those
been
those
done.
changes have stayed the same basically the last 2 years.
Okay.
Some things that I know have been suggested by, well, for one, we changed some wording on like the hourly reporting, because now we don't do timesheets. We use Genzabar where they log into J1 and put their time in. Well, all of us do that because it keeps track of our leave, like sick, like Mr. Primrose has to go in and approve if I take sick or personal leave or something like that. And so we need to change that wording. That's one example. There's a couple changes, I think, in the FMLA. Yeah, that's changed federally.
We didn't have a policy on donated leave. So that's
Donated leave, put that in there, which you all approved that, but we need to, put that in there.
dress code.
Dress code, yeah, but there's nothing like, we're gonna give everybody an extra 15 days leave or anything like that, but just trying to clean up some of that stuff.
So the staff, it's been put out to the staff, the executive team and everything, they've got it back to us, not us, but you, back to somebody. And now we're waiting to get that together to send back out to the.
I want to send it out to everybody to say, okay, here's the suggestions we got. Here's what, here's what we'd like to recommend to the board, and get some of that input before I send it to you all.
Well, I don't know how everybody else feels, but I'd like to see that one.
What we have right now?
No, the one when you send it, when you get it in its good form and you send it back out. Because if they work on that and they adjust and whatnot,
yeah,
then we have another time frame for us to do that. There's no reason we're not looking at the same thing they are.
Yeah.
And out of respect for your staff, I would think, so many times you say, and I think I actually read it in a set of minutes from our one of the committees about, well, we always have input, but nobody ever listens to it.
Oh, yeah.
So let's avoid that. They took the time to do it, so I think we need to find a way to get it back to them to show that we're listening,
Right.
But I'd like to see I'd like to see what they recommended, what you changed, what you're gonna recommend.
Okay.
And, you know what I'm saying, before we approve it.
Yeah. So now you all get the all employee emails, right? So when we send that out, you all should receive that anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't think like the only changes we've made, you correct me if I get this wrong, was like, okay, if somebody made, this recommendation on, leave, we touch base with who made that recommendation, like, okay, well, this won't work because of this, or now does this match up with another policy? And so that's the only thing we're doing right now, and then when we send those out, so basically you guys will get everything that was recommended initially. Is that, yeah. I travel in all kinds of confusing patterns, but I'm trying to get.
All right. Next on the agenda is adjournment. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.